Hello, and welcome to the Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss whatever we feel like talking about during the week. I feel like it's been very slow. Waffles and Silver Lining, what a time to be alive. Hey there, Ace Fox. Hopefully, you guys can hear all of this. For some reason, I didn't. I'm trying to. No, I don't ever hear that. I'm being silly. My mind is in like a goofy place right now. But yeah, we you know us, if you're welcome of course. Uh, we always try and discuss with stuff that came up recently, and I don't know. I feel like it's been very slow. Just as far as I'm always very picky about topics. I like the viewer portion just because you guys can hit me with some stuff to discuss. But I always struggle to see the discussability in topics. Well, fortunately, that's we got one topic in particular today that popped up hours ago. So I'm actually pretty excited to talk about that one because it is related to a game franchise that I really like. Hey, Lilac, what's going on? So I'm pretty excited to talk about that. As far as this week has gone, it's been kind of a rough week over here. It's not awful, just frustrating. A lot of people, a lot of bad attitudes that I've encountered over the past week. A lot of crappy behavior by people. So it's just kind of I see the news and everything, and then I deal with people that are just jerks, and which is not unique to me. I know that, but I get to this breaking point where like I'm ready to quit my job and sell everything and live as long as I can away from society. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I get to the point where it's just, I look at all of my stuff and I think about all of like what could I can I absolutely not live with, and how much could I just sell and then just not go into society anymore? Not deal with traffic, not deal with going to work. Like I know that I can't, but it's nice to fantasize every once in a while. If people are allowed to fantasize about doing all of this stuff when they win the lottery, I'm allowed to fantasize about doing all of this stuff without winning the lottery. And I apologize, of course, for the way I sound because my nose during the winter time I perpetually have a stuffed nose. It just happened. My nose was fine up until about 10 minutes ago, and then it started getting stuffed. I don't know. I feel like it might be my house. Buckeye Cortex, Diego, John Poncho, Torch. What is going on? Torch, sorry about that. Nah, it's okay, Torch. I appreciate it. I know that it's nothing that's unique to people, but I also know that doesn't really mean anything. Just because I say all the time, saying you shouldn't be sad because other people have it worse is like saying you shouldn't be happy because other people have it better. Whether or not other people go through problems, it doesn't change the fact that you yourself are having problems. But I also am. I've become more aware of the realization that there are major life problems, and there are stuff that's just crappy throughout the. You know what I mean? It's the did you have a bad day, or did something bad happen and you can't stop thinking about it? And I know that the vast majority of the stuff that happens that frustrates me is something crappy happened. 5 minutes later, it doesn't really matter anymore, but I can't stop thinking about it. I tell you what, but I did have, there was a bright spot to the week, which I'm actually adding to the title here, which I'm going to talk about later. Hang on a second here. So we'll talk about that later. I'm going to geek out about that topic later. So if you are not a fan, then I'm sorry, but you'll have to endure. Your body knows you're about to stream and stuff you up. Yeah, pretty much. Because I'll be done this, and I'll go to I'll click the button to stop the stream, and all of a sudden I'm perfectly fine. Life is hard and unfair enough as is without having to deal with someone else being rude just because they had. Yeah, and Ace Fox, that was actually the source of one of the problems earlier this week, was that I got into an argument with somebody because they messed up and were having a bad day and decided to take it out on me. So I didn't stand for it and I took it back out on them. I even apologized to them later. I won't get into specifics, but I even apologized to them a little bit after, and I said, it's not your, it's what happened, and you didn't deserve to have me dump on you like that, but it is what it is. But they apologized to me too, so it was all right. It gets really frustrating. Hey DB Stewart, what's going on? There were a couple of bright spots this week, though, one of which is the one that I added to the title there. So if you see later on, we're going to talk about Steven Universe. I did pick up a couple of games from the Goodwill store. One of them I posted on Twitter. So you guys saw, for those that follow on Twitter, which if you don't follow on Twitter, you should follow me at SilverGreg78. Hey, De Niro. I go to Goodwill. Everybody knows I go to Goodwill somewhere between 5 and 7 days a week, and that's not actually an exaggeration. I go every day after work, Monday through Friday, and then unless something stops me from going, and then Saturdays and Sundays, if I'm out running errands, I will go those days too. So I picked up a batch of games. It was 4 GameCube games, and then a Wii game. They were. Three GameCube games and a Wii game were on the same day, and then I picked up a GameCube game later on. So I picked up, and these are $3 a piece. Mind you, these are $3 a piece. I got Metal Arms Glitch in the System, which I think I heard somebody tell me about. So I said, you know what? It's $3. It's here. It's in good shape. It's got the manual and everything. So we'll give it a shot. $3 if it's. I know I'm saving for my computer, but $3 is $3. These next 2 games I actually already have, but I like to pick up certain games that I think are really good trade fodder or to sell. And I'm not a scammer. Like I'm not gonna be like it's $50. Like I'm a cheap person when it comes to this stuff. And again, I paid $3 for them. A Zelda Wind Waker, Black Label, not the player's choice one. It's got the manual and the little pamphlets and stuff inside. And the disc is in great shape. And Beautiful Joe, which is a cool game. I wasn't sure if I had this one. There were 2 of them, and I'm pretty sure I had the first one, but not the second one. It could have been the other way around. I already have the first one, so this one's going to be extra. So if I don't get rid of it before Too Many Games, if you guys go to Too Many Games, you'll probably see me selling it there. I picked up this game. Someone that stops here, flip note. I think he was the one that told me about this game, Batten Kaitos. It's a 2-disc game. I think it's an RPG. It was there. I was like, it's in good shape. I think it's a card-based battling RPG, which I like card games. There's a game called Lost Kingdoms, which I would really like to find a copy of. There was Lost Kingdoms 1 and 2. I never played 2. I would love to find that one. Or buy that one, I should say. Oh snap! Beautiful Joe. Dry waffles are so bland. I should at least put butter. Yeah, absolutely. Not much trying to figure out how to ask my pops for a bunch of money so I can be prepared for that job. Oh yeah. Well, DB, it's easier knowing that you're going to have income coming in. So that's something that you could say. You could say like, this is not because you want to go on a trip or something. This is because you need to prepare for a job. So you're definitely going to have the money to pay him back. I need to visit your Goodwill. The last game I bought, and this was sort of the big one, I grabbed Monster Hunter Tri, which I was like, okay, you know what? It's a Monster Hunter game. People are always telling me to try Monster Hunter. I figured this is probably like Monster Hunter Light, so it'd be easier to sort of get into before if I really, really liked it, I would jump into something, Generations or whatever the big one is now. Or Ultimate, whatever it is. Unfortunately, that was not the game in there. Fortunately, the game that was in there was Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, which it turns out to be a bit of a pricey game. not ridiculous. It's not like Path of Radiance. Like Path of Radiance for GameCube is like $200. This one I think is like $50 or $60. There are some kind of scratches that I'm not comfortable with, but it looks like it should work. I worry that cutscenes are going to skip, assuming there are cutscenes in this game. So I'm interested to play it, to at least try it out. I have been told that that I don't need to play Path of Radiance in order to play this. So eventually I'm going to give it a try and we'll see what happens. But those were some pretty bright spots. Who was that? I need to visit your Goodwill. Buckeye, you know what? I like my Goodwill, but they don't sell computer stuff. They don't sell computers. They don't sell TVs, monitors. There's another Goodwill that I visit that does, but they're much smaller. So every once in a while I'll see a monitor, but I don't know that I've ever seen a computer. I'm curious if the Goodwill stores sell computers. I think thrift stores might sell them more likely, but I know Goodwill stores are very, I don't know, they seem kind of selective about what they sell and what they have. Business delay is this late. Kingdom Hearts 3 delayed for new Disney World. If you start with Monster Hunter, I recommend you start with 4 Ultimate on the 3DS. See, De Niro, I can tell you right now, I won't start with a 3DS game. I just have almost no interest in the 3DS. I just, at this point, I don't have a new 3DS. I have the OG 3DS, so the screens are really small. So I just really don't have any interest in playing small screens like that anymore. Both Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn are good games. I'd love to see you play them. I would love to try them out. I definitely want to try them out. The only Fire Emblem game I ever played, I played a little bit of what I think is the first, or whatever one they made on GBA. The one that was just called Fire Emblem. I remember playing like an hour or two of that. And then Awakening. I played all the way through Awakening. But sorry, Fire Emblem purists, I turned off permadeath. I don't like permadeath. I played through Yu-Gi-Oh game for the PS. No, the only Yu-Gi-Oh games I played were GBA, I think. Yeah, GBA. Some of the older ones. You have Monster Hunter Generations on the Switch. It's a bit unfair to Monster Hunter 4. It's not. Yeah, well, Dragon, I know that it's not the game's fault. I'm not blaming the game, but I'm also not going to play a game on a system that I don't like playing just to play the game. You know what I mean? Like, that's like saying, oh, well, the new Monster Hunter game is on the Virtual Boy. Like, okay, that's great, but I don't like playing Virtual Boy, so I most likely won't do it. Here, more accurately, I'll tell you more accurately. I feel like it won't do the game justice, so I won't enjoy it. Dragon Quest IV. I started playing Dragon Quest IV on the 3DS because I got the remake for the DS, so I was really excited to play it. I stopped playing it a couple of hours in, and I was really enjoying the game. But having the 3DS, I'm at a point now where I don't like the 3DS anymore. Which side of the fence am I on? I don't know. Wait, hold on. What is the discussion here? I don't know what the discussion is that I need to be on the side of a fence. Also, hello. I'm getting my new PC rig set up. Ooh, RTX 2080. CPU. Come on, give me that CPU. Give me that CPU. Last time I've been to Goodwill, I think they had a computer and a monitor, but they were really old. I wish it actually got and try. That was the first one I got into with friends. Though Generations on the Switch would be better, more people to play with. Yeah, a lot of people were telling me that Try wouldn't have been a good place to start, only because right now I can't really play it multiplayer online. So the newer one seems like the way to go. I just, I have to ration my money, as bad as it sounds. I think I need to suck it up and ask them. Even though it is a lot, I think it'll basically guarantee the job for me and put me in this position. Yeah, and that's the thing, DB Stewart. That's exactly it. you're not just asking for money just to ask for money. You're asking for money literally because you're going to use it to make more money. It's the Nigerian prince scam. Only you're the Nigerian prince, and you actually are going to send them back the money. Oh, MP4 side. They should have stuck with. CT. We'll get into that. I do want to talk about that topic. That's why that's going to be an actual locked in topic for the show. But yeah, I just. I picked some of this stuff up, and I'm like, this is cool. I want to grab it, but at the same time, I'm still very much like, I keep restructuring I have a build on PCPartPicker.com, and I keep restructuring it, trying to lower the price. Unfortunately, it's just not happening. I changed my case, and I changed the board with the. I want to go with a Ryzen 1700. That's I think that's an 8-core processor. CPU Intel i7 8000K. 8000? Is that 8700? 3.7 gigahertz. Going overclock, I see. Ooh. That's the only thing on my mind regarding the breaking news. Should have gone with retro from the jump. Yeah. But yeah, what about the MCN thing? That's a hot topic right now. Ace Fox, I will discuss that, but I don't have a whole lot to say about that, and I'll get into that too. I should probably add that to the top of the list. I just hate asking for money, and I explained to him why. Yeah, I don't like it either. Hence we're sitting here talking about me saving up for a computer and not doing a donator stream where I ask you for money for a computer. I'm pretty sure he'll be understanding, but to me, asking for financial help feels like failure despite the hardships I've gone through. Plus, hey, if Trump could get a small loan of $1 million, I guess asking for a couple thousand isn't too crazy. Oliver, what is going on? Howdy there, Chief. Do I have a proper howdy gift? No, I don't have a proper howdy gift, but I do have a welcoming crade. No stream today. Kyle Linux, are we streaming right now? Are we streaming right now? Do you not see what's going on? This is a stream. We're just not. Fridays are.
Ideas are intriguing to me.
Thank you, Oliver, for the follow. Absolutely appreciate it. No, Kyle. This is. I keep almost saying Kyle. No. Friday is the Silver Lining. This is the talk show that we do, so we can discuss all sorts of things and flesh out a 5-minute conversation for 2 hours. Which is kind of what it sometimes feels like for me. Oil liver? What's oil liver? Oil liver? Ew, that sounds gross. 8700. Yeah, see, I knew it was 8700K. I'm saying Oliver. My name is @me, or / me, / me. Yeah, I definitely don't want to get into that. All right. So, but yeah, that's enough. That's enough of my ramblings. So let's. I added this before. What? Is it this one? Okay. Yay! Okay. Woo! Wait. My name is Boneless Pizza. All right. So, for the first topic, get it right here. Oh, topic. But we're here for the ramblings. For the first topic, so Nintendo put out a release, I guess you could say, not really a press release, but just they put out a video explaining that the shorthand version is that they did not like the direction that Metroid Prime 4 was going in as far as its development. So they have now brought Retro Studios in, who did the first 3 Metroid Prime games, and they, according to the video, the way it makes it sound is that they scrapped 100% of what they were working on. I'm having trouble believing that. I'm having trouble believing that absolutely 100% is gone. Would you consider all the trailers Nintendo released this past week was a direct? No, CT. There's a point that I wanted to add into that. Because they didn't do an actual Nindy showcase, right? They just released a bunch of trailers. Someone can correct me on that, because I remember at a certain time there was supposed to be a Nindies, and then I haven't seen it. All I've seen is all the trailers go up individually. And hang on a second. Hang on. Hang on a second. All right. Yep, we don't tolerate that. Even if it's not legit. We just don't tolerate it. So the hey, Straight De Niro. So I don't believe that they did 100% of everything. I feel like at the very least, some of the story elements might have been kept. I feel like that's something that wouldn't have to be ditched. You know what I mean? I definitely believe the game engine is being trashed. I definitely believe that the direction, the viewpoint of the story might be scrapped completely, and maybe they were trying to, change how the story was being told. I definitely believe all of that. I wish we would know. I wish we could know what, if anything, they are keeping and what they were working with in the first place, because this is not Metroid Prime new threat or something like that. They were calling it 4, which means that it should be it should be developed from 3. Like, so we could see some of the other Hunter characters. We could see, or the ones that are alive. Make Dark Samus come back. We could see some of the old locations. Like, I wonder what it is, and we'll never know. That's the worst part. We'll never know what exactly it is that they decided was not good. Like, what was wrong with it that they decided that was okay, that it was not okay. I'm happy that they were able to do this. I'm happy that they were willing to do this, that they were able to look at their own project and say, this is not up to the quality that we want. Because a lot of people can't do that. I think a lot of people, you start to create something, especially as a team. You start to create something, and maybe that something is flawed, but you have a bad view of everything, because what you're seeing is all of the hard work that goes into it, and that's all you see. So it's at some point you have to be able to look at it from a fan perspective, from a game player's perspective, and that's difficult. That seems difficult for developers to do. It's sort of the opposite for artists. When artists draw pictures, all they'll ever see are the flaws. Somebody will look at a picture and say, oh my God, that's amazing. Somebody else, the person that drew it, will say, yeah, but I did this line wrong. I had to redo this part over and over again. Is the stream happening today? All right, am I not here? I don't. I'm super confused. We just chat for 2 hours. Yeah, I'm super confused. Linux, is this? Are you not seeing us talking right now, or Yeah, like are you looking for gameplay? Is what my question is. I want to make sure that you are not just having a blank screen. This is the Friday show. This is the Friday show. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad that they were able to step back and look. Yeah, okay, that video wasn't time. Yeah, okay. Stream not working. Scrap everything. The stream was not working for Linux. Yeah, Linux, I thought you were seeing us and wondering why why we're not playing a game. That's what I'm thinking. That's what's going on. I'm like, but yeah, I'm glad that they were able to step back and look at it and say, it's not working. I really wish that we could see what they had, and so we could look at it and say, oh, thank God, good thing they scrapped that stuff. I'm worried that it was looking a lot like other M. See, that I think that's probably my biggest worry. I just restarted the browser and we're okay. Yeah, everybody's responding, but we were like having this conversation with Linux in the corner, and Linux is like, "What are you guys talking about?" And we're like, "Oh, nothing. We're not talking yet." It's okay.
Relax, my dudes.
Yeah, that was one of my first thoughts. Shadow, that was one of my first thoughts was, or Torch, you're on the nail, you're hitting the nail on the head too, right? Nail on the head. Yeah. One of my first thoughts was that storyline and development wise, they were looking to either follow up in the footsteps of other M, or more likely Federation Force. And that was a big concern. And I feel like they would have looked at that and said, okay, this isn't working. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if that's what happened. I do wonder if at some point during the development recently, they looked at it and said, oh God, it's like Federation Force 2, and then they just scrapped it. Because they know, they're not stupid. They know that Federation Force, it could be the greatest game ever, but if anybody can tie it even remotely to Federation Force, it will sink hard into the sea because Federation Force was so poorly accepted. Which was a shame because the game was not awful. You know, Federation Force was a totally likable, amazing Metroid experience.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Where did you get that sound clip from? From the episode. Ace Fox, I ripped that sound right from the episode. Prime 4 is the sequel to Fusion, where Federation Force is hunting Samus. Well, that is... that's sarcasm, no. Shadow, one of my biggest hopes when Federation Force happened, before Federation Force came out, but after the disaster that was its reveal, one of my hopes to redeem the game was that you play the game, because at this point, obviously, we hadn't had Metroid Prime 4. All we knew was Federation Force, and it was yuck. One of my biggest hopes for the game was that, and this is how you could have saved, I think I did a video about this, like how you could have saved Federation, how you could save Federation Force, or I know I at least talked about how you could have done it. You could have had the game be the Federation Force doing their whatever, who knows, who cares. At some point, they start to interact with something, and they're not entirely sure what it is. We, the player, would know, we would recognize Metroid behavior. We would recognize Space Pirate behavior. So you could have it that, or you could have had it, that they start interacting, and they're not really sure, they're trying to figure it out. At the end of the game, they go into this place, and there are Metroids. You have to fight Metroids. There are Metroids attacking people. You end up having to escape them. You can never kill them. You have to escape them. Everyone did a video on it. At the end of the game, when you finally escape them, the final escape scene, they're in the ship. They go back to the main ship and they're communicating. They're doing the debriefing and they're talking and they're saying this is what happened. And they're looking at footage, and the leaders who are the generals or whoever see the footage and say, we have no choice. We can't fight this, but we know who can. We have to call her. And then they get on the communication, and you see the Metroid's, the Samus S logo, and at the end it says, boom, Metroid Prime 4 coming. Like, that would have been the way to save Federation Force. Everybody would have accepted. Everybody would have hated the game at first. They would have accepted that, okay, well, it's a Metroid game. I'm going to at least play it because that's what most people did. But then when you get to the end and you see the game is a secret reveal for Metroid Prime 4 at the end of the game, people would have lost their minds. We know they would have lost their minds because we saw them lose their minds when Metroid Prime 4 was announced. That would have been the thing to do. Screw attack. Yeah. Old screw attack sound. Yeah, if Federation Force came out alongside Prime 4, no one would have cared. Yeah, no one would have cared about it being a spinoff. Yeah, but could you imagine, like, you don't know if that were true, someone would... Oh, CT, yeah, someone would have leaked it a little bit later, probably, but, you know what it is, though, CT? People would have thought that it was a joke. I think a lot of people would have thought it was a joke until they played the game and then they see, oh my God, this is it. Metroid Prime 4 could be about fighting evil Chozos. It could. That's why I think it's too early to speculate on what it could be. I do think it's important that it's called Metroid Prime 4 and not Metroid Prime something else. You know what I mean? It's not Metroid Prime the new threat. Oh man, my throat is like dry. I'm in a game where you fight hemorrhoids. Oh God, Hemorrhoid Prime 4. Oh God. What's that volleyball game? Yeah. But to use a game to promote a game, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't think it's either. See, that's the thing, Rocky. In a situation like that, you would be able to play Metroid Prime 4. This is assuming that my situation that I made up. You would be able to play Metroid Prime 4 and just read what happened. You could easily just play Metroid Prime 4 and they could run the little story in the beginning that says the Federation encountered this and they were battling this, but when they encountered Metroids, they knew who to call, something like that. Like, you could take care of it real quick. But then the in-depth Metroid person, the person like me who wants to get as much of the story as they can without reading a bunch of non-canon stuff, you would either already know what happened, or you would play Metroid Prime 4 without playing Federation Force, read that and say, oh, that's cool. So Metroid Federation Force is this backstory. So then you might want to go and play it. Like, that seems like it would have been cooler, much more interesting. I mean, we did talk before about what I would want out of a Metroid Prime 4. I would have to find that video again. I don't remember if we did it in a Silver Lining or if I did it as a standalone episode. I do think that what I would call an open system, instead of an open world game, I would want an open world game with multiple worlds. I can get in my ship and go to different places. You know, your standard Metroidvania, but in 3D, you know, your standard adventure scenario, but instead of one giant map that you explore, it's multiple maps. I get on my ship and I go to different planets. I explore those maps. I find items there that I need here. You know, it always amazes me with games that so many ecosystems are in place in the same area. Fusion did a great job of explaining it because it was a research facility with controlled environments, so That was how they explained it. But it seems so weird that, oh, let's go to this secret base on this planet. Oh, by the way, this planet has an ice area. Not even this planet. This one area where the base is has an ice area, a fire area that you can't get through without a special suit. Like, it's so weird that all of these environments are in one place. So why not have a planet with fire, a planet with ice, where it makes more sense to separate these ecosystems, and it makes sense to say, oh, I need to get through these giant walls of ice. What am I going to do? There's got to be something on the fire planet that I can find that I can use. And vice versa. Those things work against each other. Sounds like No Man's Sky. Torch, imagine No Man's Sky scaled down into a Metroid game. You have a giant Metroid game, probably, and this actually makes sense because of what they did with games like Breath of the Wild. A game that is larger than any of the previous games, probably any two of the previous games combined. A Metroid where you've got maps 4 or 5 times the size of any map that has ever been in a Metroid game, multiplied over 5 or 6 different worlds that you have to go to, because those worlds have different resources that you would use. I just feel like it works. I feel like there's a good way to make that work. Metroid Prime Revengeance. Hey, Hero Chaos. Prime 4 here's hoping the news will give us a good game. And we haven't even talked about the best part of all of this. Yeah, with the depth and hugeness of Breath of the Wild, the first-person game would be great. Absolutely. Put in journal entries akin to what Kingdom Hearts does. You say that, but Kingdom Hearts does that. As a Kingdom Hearts fan, it doesn't always do a good job filling in the detail. Oh, okay. Yeah, the journals do a better job. Sometimes a previously in the series can sometimes miss them. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I would want out of a Metroid Prime 4, and I wonder, like I said, I can't say it enough. I really wonder what they saw that wasn't working, because I would love to see that myself. I would love to know what their mindset is. What did they see that's not working? So what can we expect to not see? If they start developing the new game and they start to see these things happen again, I wonder if they're going to say, okay, this is not a good idea. But open world maps, from different planets, like Breath of the Wild exploration, but jumping from planet to planet. Make each place as big as Metroid Prime, and like yes, you use the ship to go through them, to go from one place to the next. I don't know. I like that idea. I think it would work out very well. I think it fits thematically with the Metroid series. I think it makes sense with Metroid. The best part of all of this, while of course it is sad that we're now going to have to wait 2 or 3 years, maybe more, for the game, the best part is that they have officially now sent this over to Retro Studios. Retro Studios, not only do we have a great track record from them, we know that they are passionate to make this work because of that track record. There's something to be said about them having something to prove. If you gave it to another company, they could have said, okay, we're going to try and make our own Metroid game. And they're going to fail. They're going to do something that people don't like. And who was it? Tecmo? Was that Tecmo that did Other M? We didn't want to even talk about that. Making a game announcement versus actual game announcement. Is it CT? Is it best to let fans know we are making F-Zero World Grand Prix? And not mention it, or have evidence when announcing it. Oh, okay. You're talking about Okay. Sorry, I heard a weird noise outside. You're talking about making just an announcement as opposed to a preview trailer. something like that, like introducing it with a trailer or something. I don't know. I think I would rather have them have something ready to be shown, but at the same time, it's nice when a game has gone on too long, and I think that's the thing. When a game has gone on too long without getting another entry in the series, I think it's important every once in a while to say, we remember that it exists. Good news, we're working on something. You know, for Diablo 3, let's ignore the Diablo 3, the Diablo fiasco with the phones and stuff, and let's just say that it's been years and years since Diablo 3 came out. You start to feel like they don't even remember the damn game exists anymore. So it's nice for when it's been that long of a hiatus for the company to put out a statement that says, okay, just so you know, we remember it. We want to make sure that you can hear us say that we remember that this franchise exists. That's usually pretty good. I'm usually very happy with that. What I'm worrying about is that Prime 2 and 3 weren't as critically acclaimed as Prime 1 was. Torch, I do worry about that. Metroid was never really gigantic in Japan, and over here it was always, when it comes to the Nintendo franchises, it always seemed like it was Mario, Zelda, and Metroid, especially in the beginning. It was Mario, Zelda, and Metroid. Eventually, Metroid just kind of died down, and I feel like Kirby has actually jumped in that place a little bit. So Metroid was always third or fourth place, and there was no question of that. There was never any question of that. With Prime 2, I feel like the biggest issue was that the GameCube itself, while it's fondly remembered, was dipping in popularity. It wasn't that long before the popularity of the system started to dip. And so I can appreciate, that's like saying Smash 4 sucked. You know, Smash Brothers on the Wii U, saying that it was terrible. It was a fantastic game, but the system itself, hey Cream the Rabbit, the system itself was starting to decline for the GameCube. The Wii U, the system itself never really took off. So it's not fair because of what was happening with the system to say that. Now for Metroid Prime 3, I think Metroid Prime 3 was a fantastic game. Once again, like a lot of other games, I think the motion controls came across as gimmicky, and I think that was very bothersome for a lot of people. Even I didn't like the gimmicky aspect of it, and I think that the controls for Metroid Prime 3 were actually really good. But I thought they were very tight. The only time I ever had a problem was I was having to use the motion control to push in and out. So I thought the controls were good, but I still thought they were very gimmicky. So I wonder if you, especially with the Switch, with the popularity of the Switch the way it is, would that change? Would a high-quality Metroid Prime 4 turn people's view around on the entire series? Because the series is fondly remembered from the people who remember it. You know, I think Metroid itself is one of those series that a lot of people will say, oh, I used to play that when I was a kid. I love playing it on Super Nintendo, but I never played some of the newer ones. You know, I don't think that that's uncommon. I've encountered that plenty of times myself. It's hard for us to imagine that because, for me anyway, I love it. But it's understandable. I think we'll see Retro Mystery Project, or do you think it'll get scrapped? I don't know. Maybe this was the Mystery Project. Maybe they've been working on a second Metroid behind Nintendo's back just in case the first one fell apart. To be fair, most of Prime's OG staff are now in amateur studios. Instead of each planet being a chain game. Oh, let me get into and where you need different power. Yeah, it's straight De Niro, like real legit exploration. You know, have it feel that way like it's supposed to. Interesting thing about Retro Studios is that between Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and this announcement, we heard nothing from them. It's still very possible they were making something on their own. Yeah, and that's Hero. That raises an interesting point because it's unlikely that this happened yesterday. I don't think for a second that it's been a couple of days that they said, oh, well, we don't like this. And then they called Retro Studios and said, hey, what's going on? The boring stuff is that contracts need to be signed. People need to make agreements. They need to have a whole structure and a business structure in place for how these things go down. I'm pretty sure this announcement is after all of that stuff is locked in place because they can't say Retro Studios is going to do it and then Retro is going to say, oh, well, you should have asked us first. We're not available. I'm pretty sure that all of this stuff was locked in place. So I'd like to know if I don't think he said it in the video. I would love to know later on down the line when some of these decisions were made, when Retro Studios was asked to begin work on this, because that could give us an idea of how far along they are already. This could have happened months ago. Let me go back up here because I'm jumping ahead some stuff. Exploration-wise, yeah. Even Nintendo says themselves they don't like revealing stuff too early, so they just needed people to believe that it's in the Switch's future. Yeah, I love Prime. Yeah, Dragon Knight, I love Prime 3. I thought Prime 3 was great. It's very blue. A lot of color blue in that game. And Cream the Rabbit, hello. Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, Donkey Kong,
your ideas are
Metroid,
me, and I wish to subscribe
1240 Judgment. What's going on? Thank you so much for the follow. Pikmin, Chibi Robo, F-Zero. What? I know CT. I know they're all Pokemon. Yeah, Kirby, DK. See, and that's the problem. CT, Mario. If that's an order of popularity, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, DK, Metroid. Metroid used to be higher. Obviously, it probably was never as high as Pokemon. Metroid was higher than Kirby, absolutely. But that's all changed, and a big part of the reason that's changed is just because there haven't been any Metroid games. The last one was 2007, right? Other M was 2007, and it was Other M. Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, then Kirby. Yeah, that works. Yeah, so I would see, and that's I would say Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and yeah, I would say Metroid was higher than Kirby. After Pokemon, but then before Kirby's rise to power. Kirby is easier to get into, to like and get into. Metroid is only for a certain demographic, but someone can be a Kirby fan and get into it. Yeah, I see what you mean. That being said, they're delaying Metroid Prime 4, and we need an HD. That's 100% true, Lizard. That we definitely need an HD. I would love a remaster collection. Hey, how about this? Nintendo development staff that was working on Metroid Prime 4, and now you're not anymore. Why not retask them to remaster the first 3 and put them on as a compilation? And not just a port of the first 3, but like to actually redo the graphics and everything. There you go. They're not doing anything right now. Let me jump ahead here. It's funny we live in a time where game franchises that are usually streamlined now suddenly have huge sprawling worlds. Because that's the way we're going. Metro doing that would definitely be a good idea. Thing is, I wonder how they would make it work. Like, would it be like No Man's Sky? Well, Ace Fox, that's what we were saying earlier. Somebody mentioned No Man's Sky earlier. Yes, only a lot more compact. Prime 2 is the best to me. Yeah, Prime 2 was really good. I think it was locked in place now that you said it. Retro was teasing Prime Ribs for... Yeah, remember that? Remember when they were saying like Prime Ribs and stuff and everybody was saying Metroid and they were saying no, absolutely not? That was BS. Come on, man. They've been working on this for a while. Ooh, after the delay, say Metroid Prime... That's a good question. Say Metroid Prime 4 ends up being bad. Could it kill the franchise? I don't think Rocky Bear. I don't think it would kill the Metroid franchise. I think it could kill Metroid 3D games. I think that we could get to a point, if Metroid Prime 4 was really bad, I think we could get to a point where people say, you know what, I don't need any more 3D Metroid games. Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 were great. Hunters was a little stale, although I liked Hunters. Metroid Other M was a disaster. Federation Force was a disaster. 4 was a disaster. I don't need any more 3D games. Which I think at some point there would be a hiatus, and then they would work on a 2D game. I think they would do another 2D game. Because Samus Returns was great, but it was not. It was 2.5D. It was 3D as far as the graphics engine, but it wasn't a first-person game. It wasn't 3D exploration. It was a 2D game with 3D graphics. So that I think they would focus more on doing something like that. Other M was 2010, 2011. Okay. Yeah, Prime Collection. Oh my God, Prime Collection. Oh God. I've only beaten Fusion on my 3DS. Fusion on my 3DS, Prime 3, and Samus Returns. So I just read something, but take this with a grain of salt. This is from some tweets. Apparently, the reason the original build for Prime 4 was scrapped was because multiple branches of Bandai Namco around the world were working on the game, meaning some elements were fine and others were awful. Retro stepped up with a demo to present to Nintendo. I would love to see that Hero Chaos. I would love to read that. Oh. Open world sandbox is the new our game has zombies in it. See, I don't want sandbox. I just want open world. Open world. Well, that's why I like open solar system. See, it's not just one world. It's multiple worlds around a single star. If it was Team Ninja that was involved, it was Team Ninja that was involved. I think that's why I keep thinking it's Tecmo, because I hear the word ninja and I think Ninja Gaiden and I think Tecmo. My brain follows its own path sometimes. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get other M2, the Metroid game that we've all been asking for. I'm sorry. Hero, you gotta let me know you're gonna do that. Here, hold on. Let me see if I remember this right. Hang on. Right. Hang on. No. Was it? Hold on. I'm trying to remember what the damn command was. No, it wasn't. Which damn command was it? Do I have permission? Yeah, hold on here. I'm trying to remember what the damn command was to allow that to happen. I don't. Oh no! You know what? I'm sorry. Hold on. I do remember. Nightbot. Doing the wrong thing. Okay, there you go, Hero. All right, yeah, I am definitely going to read that later because I would love to see what is going on with that, because that's important news. Actually, here, hold on. I'm actually going to let me see if I can. Development. I'm going to read this article that was posted in that was linked right there. Game Informer senior editor Imran Khan spoke with Twitter about what he heard from his sources. It seems as though the game, which was being developed by Bandai Namco, was being made in different locations in different countries. Some of what was shown could have been fine in one location, while development in another location could have been troubling. He reports that he heard that Nintendo now believes it needs to be developed under one roof, and that Retro Studios pitched their own idea and produced a great demo for the Kyoto-based company. If that is true, I would like to invoke my 6 degrees of separation, and I want this to get to Retro Studios. Can I please see what you made? Hearing that the big problem with MP4 development was Nintendo's experimental ad hoc development process. It was being made in parts in different countries. Some studios were trucking along saying it was going smoothly while it was on fire elsewhere. Internal thinking was that it needs to be all under one roof to right the ship. Interestingly, Retro made the pitch for their involvement and put together a demo that Nintendo liked. All right, so there it is right there. This is from My Nintendo News. Article is written by My Nintendo News admin, which sounds shady. I will try to
Your
remember
ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
to post a link in the description for that article there. But you see it all right there, so you can just only Metro game I ever played was when I got sucked into the Metroid universe. Everyone posts links. No, Rocky, I can add permission to one specific person for 60 seconds to add a link. I just forgot. I was doing slash, but it's not slash. It's exclamation mark. It's a little behind the scenes there. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for Metroid. I know I rambled on about Metroid, but abort. So I mean it's gonna be a few years until we see it, which is definitely a heartbreaker. But I'm glad to know that, like I said, I'm glad to know that they were capable of identifying issues, willing to admit that there were issues, and brave enough to make the change at whatever stage of the game they were in, and contact somebody else and say, okay, we need your help. Here's an idea for Metroid Prime 4. I have a choice to blow up the planet or not. Oh, okay. Enemies are much harder because they're adapted to you. But for people who just want to finish, they can blow up because Metroid. Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. Or at least straight De Niro, at least for one or two planets, have that as an option. Can we please just call it Metroid Prime 4 instead of MP4? Yeah, I don't like MP4. I read that because that's what was written there, and I didn't like calling it MP4. MP4 looks like it'll be in good hands. I also don't like MP4 because it sound like you might be into something really kinky. P. Alrighty, let me see something here. I'm gonna try to do something there, so let's hope it works. All right, so let's close that. We're gonna switch some gears here. I want to see if I have a proper picture for it. I'm looking for a picture to post up with this thing. There we go. Open with. Yay! Okay. We need to talk about. Well, I need to talk about Steven Universe. This was probably the highlight of the week for me. Was watching the Steven Universe special, and wow, what an unbelievable special. Holy smokes, some of the stuff that there is a lot to our show normally goes from 3 to 5 for doing this. This may go longer just because there's so much to unpack just from everything in this episode. There were some problems. I did have some issues with it, but they were issues that are not new to Steven Universe, and they are not internal. They're most of my issues with this, I think I can trace back to external sources. Unbelievable. So, like I said, some of the stuff we saw was fantastic. I loved the idea that Steven started to, and finally did, come to terms with who he is on the inside. Before I stop listening, will there be spoilers? I mean, it's okay. Ace Fox, it's a little bit tough with trying to not spoil this because there is a lot to discuss. Unfortunately, I think there will be. If you haven't seen it, there will be spoilers. But I can tell you right now that, I mean, it's been a few days, so you could watch it. But yeah, I think this is going to be a spoilery discussion. Just because it's impossible. I can't just sit here and say it was amazing. I have to talk about some of the things that happened, some of the specific things that we saw. We get to talk about my favorite character, my favorite fusion. Now I think my second favorite fusion. I do still my first favorite fusion is definitely Sardonyx. I don't think anything is ever going to change that. But damn it, if this character did not come close. So as of this point, let's say that this can be a spoilery discussion. So come back later after you watch it. As far as how to watch it, it's not on the Cartoon Network app as far as I've seen yet. I watched it on YouTube. It was in 20 parts, but I watched it, and damn it, it was amazing. I would say go and watch it. Absolutely. So to get to the spoilery stuff, to get to the actual discussions over everything, it was amazing to see how these characters have developed over time. I mean, this is a show that its first episode, he was upset because Cookie Cat ice cream bars were not available anymore. This is the show. This is the show that we're talking about. Full video on Dailymotion. Oh, okay. Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. YouTube had all the parts put together. Hulu has it. Either Hulu or Amazon Prime. One of them has it up. You have to pay $3 for the episode, but the whole special is there. I got to be honest with you. I'd pay $3 to watch that as much as I wanted to. I'm going to stop listening to the next topic. Yeah, we'll see you soon, Ace Fox. Well, soon, maybe. I think my first wow moment was when the arms showed up. When the two arms showed up, and I wasn't sure who it was going to be. Truth be told, I was a little bummed out because I thought it might have been Lars that was showing up with the ship. It's the end of the stream. No, it's just Sage. I was a little bummed out because I was hoping it was going to be Lars, and it made more sense. It made more sense that the arm showed up and Bismuth was in one, which I find it wild that Bismuth was in a ship that she knew how to fly it. Peridot and Lapis getting out of the ship with their new designs. Unbelievable. Awesome designs. I love them. I love that they incorporated. That was something that we had talked about before, where we had believed that when they got poofed a while back, we thought that they should have reformed, having accepted being crystal gems, that they should have stars in their design, because that's the crystal gem sort of symbol, is that there's a star somewhere in their design. I'd seen multiple fan art designs where I saw one design where Peridot's hair is like the triangle, so it's like that. Somebody had a design where the hair it branched out. Like, see what I'm doing with my hair? So it can be a crystal gem. It came out like this. So what happened was it created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, so that her hair with the little bit of branching out at the back was a star. So I had seen designs with that, and I thought that was really cool. I think she had stars on her knees now, which is great, because let me see if I can find a picture of it. It's great because let's see, new Peridot. No, it's not the new design. It's great because she had the diamond shape before. If you remember, she had her knees had diamond shapes on them, so now they have the star shapes. I like that because it reminds me of Amethyst, and Amethyst and Peridot always seem to get along. They always seem to sort of understand each other, kind of. You know, they were the shorty squad, and it just they kind of felt like. I'm sure Amethyst for a very long time felt like an outcast to them. So Peridot probably feels that way too, or felt that way for a long time. So it's nice that there's a design element that they share, because it makes it, and it's just me overanalyzing, but I love the idea of they share. You know, it's almost like when Peridot reformed, she took cues from the people that matter to her. So she added stars, but the way she added stars was because of the way Amethyst wears them. So I thought that was kind of cool. And again, that's just me reading more into it than is probably there, but I love Lapis's pants and sandals. I did love Lapis's pants. I love that it felt more empowered. You know, she's a strong character, but she was forced to work for others for so long. So I like this idea that she formed in a way that feels more comfortable for her. And those parachute pants look comfortable. I like how they gave Lapis shoes for the sake of cosplayers, which as a cosplayer makes me happy. I like that Bismuth is there. I do like that she is that she was included. I like that she made Connie a new sword, which I thought was very cool, but it was just sort of it almost felt like a little bit of a throwaway thing. Like, Connie can't do anything without a sword, so we have to give her a new sword. But at the same time, it was really cool. I kind of like that. She was in an abusive relationship. Yeah, Shadow, Alone at Sea was the episode that hit me the hardest when it came to the idea of Lapis being in an abusive relationship. That her bond with Jasper was a metaphor for an abusive relationship. Right down to when Jasper wanted to be with her again. She wanted to fuse with her again because it was the abusive relationship mantra that, oh, well, I'm a better person when I'm with you, but you were abusive. Like, it's so amazing. So the idea that Lapis formed into this, what looks to me like a more confident, independent character, was very cool. I thought it was very, if you go in that direction of thinking about the relationship that she was in, it's a physical manifestation of how she feels inside, and that she feels so independent. I'm a little surprised that they didn't design them a little bit closer, her and Peridot a little bit closer together. I thought that would have been very interesting. We're still waiting for them to fuse, if that ever is going to happen. Let's talk about these fusions. Oh my God. We got hit hard with them. I mean, to be completely honest, I wasn't expecting it when Steven merged with Amethyst and Smokey popped up. I was just happy to see Smokey Quartz again, because Smokey Quartz was Sardonyx is my favorite. Smokey Quartz was my second favorite. Definitely a fantastic, fun character. I like fun characters. It's an interesting pairing. Steven performed them in midair. That was amazing. It's a cool pairing. I loved it. When she said, like, you broke me out with fusion, I was immediately, once she said you broke me out using a fusion, immediately I thought, oh my God, he's going to fuse with the others. So when he went over and he fused with Pearl, I wasn't sure what to expect, because I knew that was Rainbow Quartz. And we had seen Rainbow Quartz before with her 80s leggings and big giant hair, like an aerobics video. So then when Rainbow Quartz 2.0 popped up, acknowledged that it was Rainbow Quartz 2.0, I was ridiculous. I was like, this is fan-freaking-tastic. How great does this character look? I love the energy. It's Mary Poppins meets Doctor Who. For I don't know why I got a Doctor Who vibe from this character, but I really did. I got such a great feeling from seeing this character, and I know that I want to see this character more. And yes, that is one thing that I thought was very interesting. Basically it's almost like an androgynous character. Most of the character, I mean, obviously they're gems, so they don't actually have genders or sexes, but most of the time they're female. You know, they're always female characters for the most part. So it was interesting that this is the first character that if you choose to hear a female voice, you'll hear it. But if you hear a male voice, that's not unbelievable either. I really like that Rainbow Quartz is so different. Further proof that Steven isn't just another Rose, he's himself. And in Dragoon Knight, and that is one of the major points for later in the episode that I already mentioned, but there was a we all know that scene with that amazing animation. That scene to me was very, very important. Probably the most important part of this story arc that has been going on. And honestly, probably the most important part of the entire show was that scene. But Rainbow also gets the record of being the second gen to be voiced by a guy. Oh, so it is actually a guy's voice. Okay. It reminds me of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So we're watching these things, and he forms with Pearl, separates from Rainbow Quartz 2.0, and here it comes. I think more than anything, everybody has been excited at the idea of Steven with Garnet, because we never saw Rose Quartz with Garnet. We definitely never saw Pink Diamond with Garnet. We have never seen that before. We've seen Smokey. Rainbow Quartz, we saw a version of Rainbow Quartz. We saw Rainbow Quartz 1.0. So we've already seen it. It's just now we're seeing a different character. We're seeing a different version of that character. There is no precedent for Steven with Garnet. So it was amazing to see. For Phyllis, since there's no threat other than the movie. We can find another threat. But CT, that actually brings me to a very important point. So they knew that this was going to be a big moment to fuse Steven with Garnet, to the point where they put a commercial break right in the middle of it. You saw the light, you got to see. I remember I was watching it at work, and the light came up and the hair went, and then the foot came down and it went to commercial break, and I'm at work going, oh no! So it comes back and she pops up and she is amazing. Hold on a second here. Didn't I? Oh, I don't have a picture of her. Yes, I won't put a picture of her up. She is unbelievable. Sunstone is the character.
Chillax, my dudes.
That voice clip is from that. I think that's one of the first things she says. Sunstone is Deadpool. Yeah, because she kind of breaks the fourth wall, sort of. Not necessarily, but yeah, Sunstone, as Sonic says. Yeah, and that's the thing. Sunstone is 90s mascot. Edgy and in your face. She's everything Poochie was trying to be. Hawkeye was perfect. When Sunstone isn't on screen, people should be asking, where's Sunstone? That is such an amazing character, and I am uncomfortably obsessed with that character now. I want fan art. I want a t-shirt. If I thought for a second I could pull it off, I would do a cosplay. Like, I love that character. So I was so excited to see it. Yes, definitely bummed out that it's such short screen time, but notice much longer screen time than some of the other ones. I think about the same screen time as the last Fusion, which someone can tell me if this confirms this or not, because I wasn't sure if this was confirmed already before. The temple where they live is a giant fusion. I don't know. I know that the speculation was that the temple was carved as a monument to the four of them fused together. Which now we know was a character was called Obsidian. That was a big speculation, but I don't know if that was ever confirmed. If not, it's confirmed now. That fusion was the temple. That is exactly what the temple looked like where they live. Yeah, the design of the temple was Obsidian. But yeah, Hero, I don't know if it was ever confirmed before then, before this time. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because, yeah, that blatantly was. Once I saw the head and the face, I was like, okay, yes, that's Obsidian. You would see more of the fusion. I'm hoping to Dragoon Knight. I'm hoping so too. Actually, I wouldn't mind if the point of the movie was fusion related. Somebody who shows up who is manipulating fusion on a grander scale or something, like, just because I want to see more of these characters. Obsidian's my new number one fusion now. Really? Oh no. See, I still gotta go Sardonyx. Sardonyx is everything I want to be in a person. Like, she's so outspoken. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something about her. She's like a showman, the showman of showmen, and I love that. I don't know why. I think it's because it's a quality that I don't feel like I have, so I admire it when I see it from somewhere else. I don't believe in fusion. It's impervious to any attacks. CT, some would argue that it's a cheap trick to make weak gems feel stronger. She is the Super Saiyan of that show. Well, not the Super Saiyan. She would be the gorilla monster transformation. Sardonyx is my least favorite, as she was abused so much in one episode, which I know was the point. Which episode Sardonyx was? Which episode am I thinking of? One punch is all it took. One punch! There you go. Here's your one punch.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
But yeah, oh my God, Sunstone was amazing. The moment that I was talking about before, which was the animation moment. I should really just have to say the animation moment, and most people I think will know what I'm talking about. It is the scene when, by the way, my mind was blown. That has been one big question for a while. Dora Pearl was building the communications tower. See, I don't think Sardonyx was abused as in they used her too much. Yeah, I'm thinking abused as in somebody was hitting her. Like, what are you talking about? She was never beaten up. How is Sages? The Sages is fine. He's as noisy as ever. The whole giant battle was Steven Universe-y, zany and crazy. One of the big questions that was answered, it was very, very subtle, not subtly answered, but it was answered. There was a question of, if you remove Steven's gem, what would happen? A lot of people weren't sure if he would die, if he could be separated and Rose or Pink Diamond would be able to come back. Like, if he existed as his own person and then the gem was in there also. There was a lot of question about that. In the episode that I have pictured here, actually, 3 gems and a baby, Pearl tried to rip the gem out from him because she didn't understand how it worked. So it's not anything that we blame her about. But she was trying to rip the gem out, and he started crying. So there's been this question this whole time of whether or not what would happen if you removed his gem. So we finally got to see it, and it was impressive. I mean, he was alive, but to me, he was dying. So it was very interesting to see the solution to that. I thought the White Diamond scene was actually pretty cool. The moment. The other moment, the animation in that scene, oh my God. Pink Stevens' raw power. Yeah, the she's gone moment. White Diamond could separate fusions. That was shocking. Well, you could separate fusions with those. What's it called? With the stick that they shocked them with. Rebecca Sugar did confirm prior to this that if Steven's gem ever got removed, Steven would die, which confirmed how he was in that spot. Okay. So there was somewhere that confirmed that before. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And then you got to see Pink Diamond morph into Rose Quartz, morph into a version of Steven, which was Pink Steven. Which there's the scene with him, and then that's when regular dying Steven and Pink Steven takes him up, and then they look at each other and they start to laugh and they start to dance around with each other, and it's almost like a fusion. If you notice, it looked a lot like fusion where they're dancing. Oh, Lilac, have a good one. Thank you for stopping in. Where they're dancing around, and it's like a fusion where they merged themselves together. I think it was probably the most important scene in this entire show. The entire show, we have watched Steven try and come to grips with the power inside of him. At first he was just trying to learn how to control it. The show started when he was starting to come into his powers and start to figure out how to use them. But then when all of the stuff happened with Rose Quartz and the truth started coming out about that she was not the most honest person, and she was basically lying to everybody about where she came from and being very deceptive, he started to question the power inside of him. He started to question whether this power was his own or not. And it got worse when he started to see through the eyes of Rose Quartz and through the eyes of Pink Diamond. He started to question if he was himself, if this power was a part of him, or if this was something inside of him that was separate. So the most important thing that happened, that could have happened in this show, is for him to come to the realization that no, this power that is in him is him. It maybe used to be other people, but there's a reason the memories aren't there. There's a reason that the power does what you do, and it's not exactly what other people do. This is the moment where he finally accepted every part of himself. And that's an important thing. That's not, and again, this show has been rife with metaphors for real life situations. That's an important step in someone's life, for them to look at every part of themselves and to accept all of themselves, even the parts that they question the most, the parts that they are worried about. Some of us have these aspects of ourselves that we are concerned with. We're concerned that they come from an insincere place. We're concerned that they are actually evil qualities. One of the biggest things that people, I personally think people contend with, is the idea of selfishness. People have this thought that if they look out for themselves instead of looking out for somebody else, that it'll come across as being selfish. And there's this aspect, that's an aspect of personality that you need to have. You need to take care of yourself. Sometimes you do need to look out for yourself, but it feels like it comes across as selfish. You'd be surprised at how much better your life gets as far as taking care of yourself when you come to realize that you do need to do that first sometimes. So it was sort of like, and that's not what was happening with Pink Steven. It's just the idea of there were this major aspect of himself that he was concerned with. He was concerned with where it came from and what it meant and whether or not it was even his. So at the end of it all, to finally come to grips with it was the most significant scene that could have happened in the show. Combined with the stuff that happened in the end with White Diamond coming to some realization, which I have a problem with that, so we will discuss that. All of that to me makes for what I believe should be the perfect series finale. The whole thing came across towards the end like it was a series finale. I really think it should be. I don't think and that's what we at CT. I think you were saying that there are no more threats. I think that's why it should be a series finale. I don't think that there should be much more story to tell. I think that unless you do it fantastically, it's gonna feel forced. Anything you try and do after this with an ending so perfectly, I think it's gonna feel forced. The movie, fine. Have it as a throwaway story. That's fantastic. Like I said, I definitely want to see more of these fusions because I kind of miss them already. I'll tell you what fusion I wouldn't mind seeing if Steven confused with humans. Give me a Steven and Greg fusion. That episode was the only oh, you're talking about the one with Uncle Grandpa. Funny thing though, CT, that episode is considered not canon, but that is the episode when Steven learns to use either, I think it's the shield, and he maintains that knowledge. The idea that it's not canon, but he maintains the knowledge that he learned in that episode is very interesting. Oh, Diamond Steven. Oh my God, Steven merging with the other diamonds. How about that? If there is anything, Greg, they need an epilogue. I felt kind of empty with Lars and not knowing what he did. Yeah, I don't like the fact that Lars popped up right at the end just for no reason. That's why when the hands ship showed up, I think Lars should have shown up then too. He could have learned it off camera. I don't know, Torch. It just feels like a major issue that they could have put into another episode somewhere. Honestly, here you go. You could have had him put it into another episode and have somebody say, when did you learn to control that? And have him say, I'm not really sure. And then it's the sort of throwaway line like, oh, okay, he's just not really sure. Like, he just knows how to do it. But as a fan, you've seen the other episode. And it's like, oh, that's where he learned it from. So it's like, it's almost like it happened, but he doesn't remember it. I have this feeling it was written like a series finale because the team probably didn't know if Cartoon Network would renew it. Given Cartoon Network track record, Hero, that actually delves into, that digs into my biggest issue with this special. And this is where I say, like I said at the start of this, I feel like the biggest issue that I have, I feel like can actually be traced to an external source. I do have an issue with the Steven Universe. Linux Steven Universe is as good as they say. I would recommend looking for an episode list to follow so that you can cut out the filler, because anything with Beach City is pretty pointless. Sorry, Beach City, but, whatever. My biggest issue with the special is that certain things that should have been fleshed out a little bit more felt rushed. In particular, the thing at the end with White Diamond, you're acting like a child. I am a child. What's your excuse? And then all of a sudden she had the realization. I feel like there should have been more lead up to that rather than just his one line trigger this change in the character. The reason I say that it can be traced back to an external source is over these past years, if Cartoon Network gave Steven Universe the attention that it deserved because of the popularity that it had, it would have been given more time. It would have been given more time to be fleshed out. This could have been the hour and a half Steven Universe movie. It would have been given the respect that it deserves, and it would have had more time to do it. But because it didn't, they had to do the same thing they've been doing with Steven Universe, which is scrunch it down into what is effectively 4 episodes. I definitely blame Cartoon Network for the poor treatment of Steven Universe over the years. I agree, but I feel like that might be Steven's diamond power. Well, that's the thing. That was always his power. His power for a long while now has been, not power so much, but has been the idea that he's not violent. That's why he has a shield and not a weapon. You know, he doesn't have a sword or an axe or anything like that. He has a shield because the nature of his character is that he gets to people emotionally rather than just attack them. You know, he talks to them. He tries to sort out their problems. He has always been that character. So it makes sense that it works this way, that it ended with him saying something and just talking to change her mind. My problem is that it was one quick line that was more like a joke, and that's the thing that fixed it. Like, I feel like if there could have been some buildup, even if you restructured the line, you know, it could have been this idea that people were trying to you could have had an extra couple of scenes with her where she is presented with the idea that maybe she's not perfect, but she can't accept it. And then at some point, Steven, you know, at the end of all of that, you know, oh, you're acting like a child, you know, I am a child, you know, you're the one with the problem, something, you know what I mean? Something like that. And then it's like, it's the culmination of the stuff, of the couple of scenes that we had already seen with her trying to come to, or almost coming to this realization. The fact that it was just a quick throwaway line that did it was, to me, a symptom of it being so short. With all the anime references and shout outs in that show, DBZ1, like Goku. With the movie, how much needs to be a recap, and when can the movie start? Since, yeah, that's a good question. When would the movie start? Honestly, I think the movie takes place after this. There's no question. I mean, allow me to call back to the promo episode. Which one? The I am a child? What's your excuse? Yeah, because oh, that's right. Wait, he did say that in the promo episode. The one where the animation's completely different, right? The one where it looks more like Adventure Time. With all of the gems, yeah, according to chat. With all of the gems that were transformed when that got corrupted, when everything happened, it's easy to assume that some of those gems might have actually been evil. So it would be an easy plot line to say that now that all of these gems are being fixed, they're fixing some gems that are not good. You know, they're fixing some gems that were there specifically to cause problems. I wish Steven been into a hot dog at the end. No, I'll tell you what I did like. I liked them sitting on the beach, like they do at the end of the intro. I like the fact that they were all. I've always loved shows, and this is across multiple shows, where despite how big the cast grows and despite how much we see of other people, I like when the show ends with the original core cast just kind of hanging out. It makes me feel like, okay, this entire time we have been, despite all of the extra characters that have shown up, like Simpsons, when the Simpsons finally ends, I want the last scene to be them on the couch. I want it to be them sitting down, relaxing, you know, hanging out. You know, Bart and Lisa are sprawled on the floor watching TV and they're all together, but just them. Despite all of the hundreds of characters that have been added to that show, I would love to know that at the very, very end of it, the 5 members of that family with the cat and the dog, with Snowball and Snowball 2 and Santa's Little Helper, that they are what we see at the end. I like that. So I liked when Steven Universe, I liked that it ended. They were all on the beach, but in the one area off to the side was the main core cast. I like that. I'm wondering if the change of attitude of the Diamonds makes some races attack. That could be it. It could be that they see this person is attacking friends of the Diamonds, you know, friends of Homeworld. Oh, I didn't watch Adventure Time. I was not a big fan of Adventure Time at the beginning. I know people have told me that Adventure Time got better as it went on. It was more consistent. I like a little bit more consistency in the storyline. You know, Steven Universe, I found it very entertaining despite the fact that it was sort of here and there. Once they took, I think it was past season 3. Once season 3 was over and they still, cause remember the first season of Steven Universe was 52 episodes. Half of it was filler. The next season I think was only about 26 episodes. A little less than half of it was filler. The rest of it was very well related to the main characters. Slowly they had to scale it down so there was not a lot of filler towards the end because they were only showing 4 and 5 episodes at a time every couple of months. I like shows like that. I like when that happens. Simpsons could end because of DC Fox deal. The Simpsons is made at a loss, but at this point Simpsons should have been over a few years ago. Good or bad filler? Some episodes were fun. Some episodes were very annoying. Anything with Ronaldo, I don't like. I just don't like that character. Some of the Beach City characters are okay. They're fun, but not ultimately very, very entertaining. I thought Beach City, I thought the inhabitants were very boring. I thought they were very, very blah characters. So yeah, if you tell me that it's a whole Beach City centric episode, I usually just check out. I'm not, some Future Boy Zoltran I think is what it was called. That was kind of funny, but some stuff was just very unless they were talking about the past, unless they were talking about, how these characters interacted with Rose or the Gems, in some way that was fun. Jamie I thought was hilarious. I loved that Jamie, when he did the play, I thought that was really funny, but ultimately it's like, I could just skip it. Kick my past, especially because I have a friend that loves the show. Oh yeah, believe me, Torch, it's a great show. It's just, you gotta watch it. If you're talking about Steven Universe. I just, what a great special that was. It was so fantastic. It was so amazing to see all of that stuff. I've watched it a couple of times already again. Did the Big Donut go under? No. Mayor, Dewey. He's not mayor anymore. I think he runs the Big Donut. It was nice to see Lars. It wasn't really necessary. Sadie's fine. She's an okay character. Hey, Aqua Sakura. Not gotten around to watch the. Oh my God, Aqua Sakura, you got to catch up. I know that everybody has to do things on their own time. I'm not like you're terrible for not watching it, but when you get a chance, you gotta watch it. It's so good. Oh man. Alrighty. But I could probably just, at this point, I'm just gushing for no reason. In a second. So where's my? Oh, there we go. All right. I'm trying this new thing. It's got these stream markers that you can add, so I'm trying to remember that I'm adding them. Okay. For the last 20 minutes, as we normally do, this is the viewer topics portion of the show. So if anybody has any specific topics that they wanted to ask about, I know somebody brought up the whole MCN thing. Realistically, if you guys have not watched this, Matt Pat put up a video of like a 23-minute video or something talking about what was going on with him and his fall in the Defy Media that they shut down, and they stole like $1.7 million from him and a bunch of other creators. Realistically, I don't know enough about MCNs other than they exist. Screenwave Media is the only one that I'm really, really aware of. And Machinima, how's Machinima doing? Is anybody know if Machinima's still around? No? Okay. For anybody that doesn't know, Machinima also like just shuttered its doors one day, and I think it was this past week or the week before. Like they just out of nowhere, they just shuttered their doors, put all of their videos to private, and left it at that. Like it's very, very odd. Johnny's part of an MCN. I guess I know he's affiliated with Screenwave. I don't know to what extent that's Johnny's business. I know that when we go to MagFest and Too Many Games, Screenwave throws a party and we're allowed to go. So that's all I know. Yeah, I again, it's just a topic that I don't know that much about, so I don't know that I can comment on it. I will say to go and watch Matt Pat's video. At this point, it's probably got millions of views. Watch Matt Pat video, you'll get an idea of the kind of shadiness that can go on and the kind of things that MCNs are good for. I know the one big thing, he even mentioned it in the video, one big thing that MCNs are good for is copyright infringement or copyright strikes. Yeah, Ace Fox, we're done talking about Steven Universe. That they will help defend against copyright strikes, which, you know, for me, I mean, none of the services that an MCN can provide are good for me just because I'm so small. But when you're a larger one, when you're a channel that talks about movies and you show movie clips and you play movie audio, you probably need a network that's going to help you defend against massive amounts of copyright strikes. So yeah, that's just something that I just personally don't have any experience with yet. Would you consider installing Linux in one of your old PCs to make a gaming arcade box? Linux, I'll be honest, I don't know enough about programming to know what the difference would be between Linux and just a Windows, but like, is it Linux and Windows? I don't know enough about them to say what the advantages are or are not. I have considered using an old PC as an emulation machine. I have a Dell Inspiron 530 sitting downstairs in my basement, and I think it needs a new hard drive. I don't know what else it needs. But I considered using that, adding more RAM to it, getting a new processor, because it's a duo processor, but I know they make a quad processor that'll work for that, and then turning it into an emulation box. Just something that I can take with me to places. But at the same time, if I was going to do any of that, I would build a really cheap mini ATX or mini ITX board machine, and then just take it to conventions and stuff so that I could travel with it. But realistically, I could just travel with my SNES Classic now. But I love arcade games. I like old arcade games, so I like the idea of having a box that I could play all those old arcade games in. There's a great mini ITX case called the Corsair Crystal. I think it's the Corsair Crystal. It's got like one big fan in the front. There's like a 180 millimeter fan or something in the front of it, and it's got a handle. I love that. It looks beautiful. It's just the case itself is like $150. I've considered that, but I just don't know enough about Linux or DOS or any of those programs to say what the advantage is. I'd probably just make it Windows because that's all I really know. Now I have to watch Matt Pat. Yeah, CT. If you go, there's a Matt Pat. It went up a few days ago, and it's the talk of the town just because of what's going on with MCNs, and I think a lot of people are just interested in MCNs. It has a cool ring to it to say, oh, I'm part of this group. I'm part of Screenwave. I'm part of this. I don't feel like I have anything that I could contribute to one right now. That I feel like I'm a long way off from being at that level where I have something that I could offer. A multi-channel network, by the way, is what they're called. That's what MCN is for. And I don't feel like I'm big enough to benefit from whatever they might be able to offer. I've gotten probably 2-3 copyright strikes the entire time that I've posted videos, and they're nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm losing the revenue from 20-30 view videos, so it's not really that big of a deal for me. Do you think mini classic are dumb since the Switch could get more emulated? No, CT. I think the mini classics are amazing. I love them. I love that they're standalone units. I love that it's not. Oh, if I want to play Super Nintendo games, I have to buy a Switch. Not really. No, you have to buy this $60, $70, $80 device that works separately and is obviously a lot more hackable than the Switch. Where you can put a lot more Super Nintendo games on the Switch rather than buying the Switch and having the game. Look at the NES games. You could say, oh, well, the NES Classic is stupid. I can get NES games on my Switch. You can't get nearly as many games, and you're forced to play the games that they trickle down to you. So I like standalone individual stuff. MCN stole like $1.7 million from people that was partnered with them. I think Smosh was part of them. Matt Pat, somebody, I don't think PewDiePie was part of them, wasn't it? I heard an update to talk about his experience with them. Torch, I used to follow a couple people that worked with Machinima, right? And they did not like it. They were not getting any benefits from it. They didn't feel like they were getting any benefits from being with them. And when they tried to get out of being with them, it was a disaster. Considering the Switch Online service, no. Did you get the Soulja Boy game console? I remember a video. Yeah, we talked about the Soulja Boy stuff before. I'm so tired of Soulja Boy and his. It's like Soulja Boy and the fight for relevancy. He's just doing stuff and saying stuff just because he wants attention because the money's running out. It turns out you can only crank that for a few years before you got to start paying the bills again. Not dumb, but like when would you consider a cutting point? When would I consider a cutting point for the minis? 2 Christmas seasons. I think 2 Christmas seasons should be enough for everybody who really wants a mini system to get it. I think that's a good cutoff point. I think that if it's, the NES Classic, the SNES Classic, they've seen 2 Christmases each. I think it's a good time for them to. I think at this point, you could go into a store and get one. There was a long stretch of time where you could just go into a store and get one. You had plenty of time to do it. So I think that's good. It's a couple of years is a good cutoff point. That last episode felt like a series finale. Jerf, that's what we were talking about. It really felt like it, and in my opinion, it should be. Would Johnny review one what? Oh, the Soulja Boy system? Oh God, I think. I mean. I know what Johnny's answer would be, and that is that if he could ever get around to it, I know that he's got so much on his plate all the time that he can never I've seen him say this enough that he can never guarantee that he's going to play something. I can tell you that if you asked him directly, he would tell you to save your money because it's most likely trash. Yeah, save your money. If you are hell bent on gifting him something, I think there are better individual games that you would gift him as opposed to one horribly dumb system. Yeah, just don't. And that's the biggest problem. If you buy one to gift it to somebody else, you're still putting money into it. There will be a new update for Bloodstained on the 31st. The new one that hasn't come out yet, or the Curse of the Moon? Was it? Is it Curse of the Moon, and then Ritual of the Moon? It didn't come out yet, right? At this point, if someone doesn't have a mini, it's probably because they don't. Yeah, exactly. They just don't want one. Except for the PlayStation Mini, I think a good cutoff time for the PlayStation Mini was 20 minutes before they released it. That's when they should have canceled it, because that's a disaster. Although I saw a headline. I didn't watch the video, but I saw a headline for a video that said you can add a bunch of games through Bleem, which is a very interesting idea. Bleem was the first and probably most prominent emulator for the PlayStation. It'd be interesting to see if they could get it running on the PlayStation Mini. That would be kind of fun. I assume it's a ritual of the night. That's what it is. Since that's still in development. Yeah, I always wait. Well, you never know. Maybe they're adding stuff to the other one. Well, I really was it Curse of the Moon, Circle of the Moon. Is Johnny doing what from the sounds of the I mean, that's something you would have to ask him. He hasn't told me anything is wrong. New update for Bloodstained last Thursday of every month. The one that hasn't been released yet. Yeah, I kind of figured that, but yeah, I'm excited to see that game, but I know not to get too hype about certain games just because I worry. I played Mighty Number 9 a couple of years before it actually came out, and I was not very excited for it. So I wasn't hyped for it up until that point, and when I played it, I was like, it's okay. Like, I never really got hyped for it. So when it came out and everybody was all pissed off because it was not a good game, or at least it wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be, I was sitting there like, all right, I knew that there was a chance it was going to suck, so I didn't really care. So I'm going very carefully into the Bloodstained game. I did love the fake Dracula's Curse, the Bloodstained 8-bit fake Castlevania 3 game. Greg, Splatoon 3 when? Years. Splatoon 3, if it even comes out on the Switch, will be on the Switch Pro. Steven Universe was a thing. Good thing today is Young Justice and JoJo Friday. JoJo Friday, is that a JoJo reference? Have you heard of Crosscode? Yes, I did hear of Crosscode. 2D SNES style JRPG. Did hear it, haven't seen it. For me, it's with Domestic Girlfriend Night, plus other anime. Aqua, speaking of anime, I'm trying to watch the show High Score Girl, and I'm just not enjoying it. I do not like the three main characters, and it's almost I'm struggling to get through it. PlayStation Mini, from what I heard, is super crap. Like, the system itself isn't even selling. Yeah, I think it's down to $40 or $50. Will we not clean? No, CT, I haven't actually cleaned games in a while. I want to change my camera setup. I have a lot more room here, so I do want to get back to that. But I want to change my camera setup so that you can see it. It's observable a little more easily. So I do eventually want to get back to that. I want to at least finish my Super Nintendo games. Wargroove comes out next week. I finally scratched my Advance Wars. Yeah, that's I keep seeing Wargroove and thinking it looks like Advance Wars, which I never got to play. And now that I've gone and tried to find Advance Wars games, they are expensive. Or at least more expensive than I'm willing to pay for them. You know, I'm sad that Ghostbusters 3 isn't getting more attention. Torch, after what happened before with Ghostbusters, I think people are super cautious. I think that's the problem. I think everybody's just sort of like, I mean, you know, it's sort of the same issue with the other Ghostbusters movie, with the 2016 Ghostbusters movie. We didn't really ask for this, so we're not really excited about it. My wife will not stop watching, what is it? Yowamushi Pedal. I just don't understand. What is it about? I mean, it says pedal. Is it a driving anime? Every new anime. Wait, I watched everything today. Oh, okay. I watched everything. I want a virtual console for the Switch with GameCube games, but that won't happen. I don't know. I think it'll happen. Jeff, I think it could happen just because you need high transfer rates to download games that large, which some of them actually aren't that large. But with Smash Brothers, Nintendo is telling people to hardline their connection. So that should give people the ability to download some pretty large games. What are your thoughts on Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy? I I saw something about that, but I'm not familiar with that game. I'm guessing it's a stupid game. Oh, cycling anime, sports anime with bikes. Okay. Yeah, I would have to look. I'm always on the lookout for new anime, even though I have tons of anime that I haven't really watched yet. I still need to finish My Hero Academia. I haven't even watched Castlevania. I may actually try this coming week. I'm on vacation from work this upcoming week, so I may throw some extra streams in there. But I think I wanna sit down one day and watch the second season of Castlevania. I may take a trip out and go finally see Into the Spider-Verse, assuming I could find a decent viewing time for it. GameCube remasters over GameCube Virtual Console. Yeah, I'll take a GameCube Virtual Console, but certain games should probably be remastered. GameCube PS. I remember seeing it on GameCube. First GameCube game we got on the Switch so far. That's true. That is a GameCube game on the Switch, so I guess that counts. Broly was good. I don't know. Well, that's limited view. I don't even think that's in the theaters anymore. Console has the ability to do it. Will Nintendo make a virtual console for the Switch? Jerf, I have a video on this. The virtual console is already on the Switch. If you go to the eShop and go to the upper left corner, there's a search bar there, so you can just type in whatever you're looking for. That's the virtual console. The virtual console is not anything special. The virtual console is basically just a filter. You go to the eShop and then you push the button that says virtual console, and it takes you to all of the retro games that came out a long time ago. You can just do a search for that. If you go to the Wii the Wii shop, if you still can anymore, and just type in SNES. Go to the Wii U store. Just type in SNES. And you don't need a virtual console button. It'll just bring up all the Super Nintendo games. If you tell people GameCube games are on the Switch, they don't need a special button that says virtual console. They just need to go to the search bar and type in GameCube, and all the GameCube games that are available will come up. The idea of a virtual console, it's just a button in a shop. The online store is the online store, and that's it. Is Netflix Castlevania good? Netflix Castlevania, the first season is very good. I was scared to watch it for fear of being horrible. Yes, DBS Broly was everything. Yeah, Linux. The Castlevania on Netflix is awesome. Definitely watch it. Needs improvement. It took a lot of liberty. Well, that's, I think every anime, every show is going to take some liberties. Depending on what liberties they took, some things just work better in video games than they do in TV shows. So there may be certain liberties that you have to take, but I'm fine with what I saw in the first season anyway. I'm fine with it. The whole idea of well, I don't want to say any of that. Linux is going to watch it now per our recommendation, because Linux is not going to. I'm sorry, I said he. I just that's like my go-to common noun. But you're just going to take our word for it. Take the good word for it and block out the bad word for it. It's good. No, it is good though. The liberties they took were in the spirit of the series. Plus, Lizard, you got to remember, Castlevania is a creature of chaos. It may take many incarnations. This is one of them. Yeah, it's Castlevania is supposed to change it up a little bit, even if we're very confused by the end of it. I didn't care for the old Broly. Yeah, that's the only thing. I don't remember much of the old Broly stuff, so I'm not too. I'd feel like I'm going into it with a fresh perspective on it. All right. What are your thoughts on Nintendo getting a theme park? Oh, I love it. I'm so happy. I think it's long overdue, to be completely honest. At the very least, maybe not a whole theme park, but at the very least, it should have had a section in another theme park somewhere. But I love the idea of a Nintendo themed theme park. It's now all I need to do is find a way to get to it. All right. that is going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for stopping in and hanging out. Listen to me ramble about Metroid and definitely ramble about Steven Universe because that was amazing, and I'm probably going to go sit down and maybe watch it again. Again, I want to thank you all for showing up. If you are watching this right now, be sure to check the links down below to my YouTube and Twitter accounts to follow me over there, specifically the Twitter, because if I do any kind of updates or anything, I will post it on Twitter. If you are watching this on YouTube, also check the links down below to follow me on Twitter and Twitch, where you can watch this show live Fridays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., unless we change that up. If we do change that up, we will say so on Twitter. So thank you guys so much. Have an amazing weekend. Play some fun games. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. I don't know what the weather's going to be like where you are. The weather's all up and down here. I mean, it was 55 degrees yesterday or the day before, and now it's dropping down below 30. I was out in a t-shirt 3 hours ago, so it's just all over the place. Do I have to watch Steven Universe in order, or can I just skip to that episode? No, Ace Fox. For the last word today would be to look online for an episode guide, and it can tell you specifically which episodes to skip if you want to skip the filler and go right to the important points. Then I would say to follow that list so that you can catch everything in order, because certain things that are big revelations will just be randomly talked about later on. So you want to have all the reveals the same way we all did. But thank you guys so much. Yeah, there you go. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you guys next time.